Hello, welcome to Mr. Hanson Math. I'm Mr. Hanson. Let me help you with some math. Today we're going to learn about adding fractions. And I'll be honest with you up front, it's a relatively difficult process. Pretty complicated. The bottom line is though, I'm going to lay it out step by step. This video, you'll be able to do it when you're done with this sucker. I'm going to go step by step and you're going to be fine. But just watch out for the hangups. I need you to watch 2 videos before you watch this one. My adding integers videos, one video is going to talk about adding and good guys and bad guys going to war. And I'm going to come in here as if you already know how to do that. It might confuse you, so I recommend you watching that one first so you don't get confused. And in the second video you need to see is multiplying fractions. The reason you need to know how to multiply fractions before you add fractions is because in order to add fractions, you have to multiply fractions. So watch those 2 videos. I'm going to put an add fractions and a multiply fractions video up. Watch those 2 videos and then come in and watch this one when you're ready. So let's get started. First of all, when you're dealing with fractions, you need to treat the denominator as a unit. The next thing I'm going to do is lay out the steps. We're going to talk 3 steps when we do this. We're going to do 3 steps. Let me lay them out for you now. The 3 steps we're going to do is we're going to multiply by 1 using the opposite fractions denominator. That's going to help us when we have uncommon denominators. You'll hear your teacher talk about, oh, what's the common denominator, all this garbage and stuff. It's actually kind of important. The easy ones we're going to start out with first. We're actually going to skip number 1. It's not going to be applicable. We're just going to do steps 2 and 3 till we get warmed up. Once we get because what we're going to do is have fractions already have common denominators. And then when we get to ones that have uncommon denominators or unlike denominators, we're going to have to make them common, and we'll use that by step 1. I'll show you when we get there. The other thing is I'm going to give you 2 steps here just so it's all together. Then I'm going to work some problems and come back and refer and explain to what it means. You don't need to know what it means now. I'm just putting it down. If they're the same team or the same sign, like positive or negative, you're going to add them together because they team up. If they're on the opposite team, they're going to go to war. From the adding integers video, you need to see that video. We're going to go big number minus small number. I'll explain it when we get there. Let's start out with a very straightforward adding fractions problem. 1/4 plus 2/4. So if you have something like here, it says 1/4 plus 2/4, they have common denominators. Common means everybody has one. Oh, that kind of thing is very common. It means everybody's got one. So this is a common denominator. They both have fourths as a denominator. And if you remember, I said treat it like it's a unit. What would be, say, 2 YouTubers plus 5 YouTubers? I got 2 YouTubers, and I got 5 YouTubers. What would 2 YouTubers plus 5 YouTubers be? It would be 7 YouTubers. You'd add up the 2 numbers and keep the unit the same. If I had 2 YouTubers plus 5 YouTubers, I would get 7 YouTubers. I'd add the numbers together, 2 plus 5 equals 7, and the unit, YouTubers, would be the same. What's 5 truffles plus 1 truffles? If I have 5 truffles over here and I have 1 truffle over here, I add them up in my stomach, I got 0 truffles left, to be honest. No, but seriously, 5 truffles plus 1 truffle is 6 truffles. I would add my numbers together, 5 plus 1 equals 6, and truffles, truffles, truffles. I would keep the unit the same. I treat it like a unit, and the unit's not going to change. Okay, so let's come over here, and I'm going to write it out in words, 1/4 plus 2/4. I'm going to write it in words kind of like this. 1/4 plus 2/4. I treat it like a unit, the denominator. I treat the denominator like a unit. What would 1/4 plus 2/4 be? It would be 3/4. I would add my numbers 1 plus 2 and get 3, and in fourths, 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 that would be my unit. So I would come up here and say 1/4 plus 2/4. And now I'm going to go up to the steps. Let me explain this to you, what I wrote earlier. Again, step 1 we're not going to use. I'll tell you when we're going to use step 1. So we go to step 2, add the numerators. The numerators are the numbers on the top. So 1 plus 2, that's going to be 3. And then my next step is keep the denominator the same, or the unit. Again, the denominator is like the unit. Keep the denominator the same. And that's why you don't go 4 plus 4 equals 8. Don't do that garbage. That would be an error. That would be a mistake. Add the numerators. That's what this step says. Add the numerators. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Keep the denominator the same. 4, 4, 4. 1/4 plus 2/4 equals 3/4. Let's move on, including some negative numbers, because you're going to see those. -1/8 plus 5/8. Okay, we're going to skip step 1. Step number 2 says add the numerators. The numerators are the numbers on the top of the fraction bar. So I need to add them. 1 bad guy plus 5 good guys. Again, you have to watch my adding integers video. You just got to do it. I'm not going to explain it here. I'm not going to waste the time of people that have already seen it. Go watch it. Come back when you're ready so you're not confused. 1 bad guy plus 5 good guys. They're going to go to war. These guys are going to shoot each other. How many people do you have left and what team they're on? How many people, what team, how many people, what team? What number, find the sign. Find the number, find the sign. 1 bad guy, 5 good guys. And again, this is what I'm talking up here. If they're on the same team, no, they're not on the same team. They're on the opposite team. I'll take the big number minus the small number. Big number 5 minus the small number 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. And then my last step is keep the denominator the same, 8. That's my answer. Negative 1/8 plus 5/8 equals 4/8. Now I'm going to simplify this right here just because I should. If you don't know how to do it yet, don't worry about it. I'll make a video and show you how. When I get that video, I'll link it on here. But for now, I am going to simplify it though. I'll just explain another video. So this one doesn't wind up being an hour and a half long. I just want to focus on adding fractions. It's complicated enough by itself. But you got this. Let's keep rolling. 3 cents plus negative 2 cents. When I'm adding fractions, I just go to these steps. Like I said it was kind of complex, but honestly, you just follow the steps. We don't have to do step 1 yet. I'll tell you when. So the first step we have to do is add the numerators. The numerators are the numbers on top. So 3 plus negative 2. 3 good guys, 2 bad guys. I got 1 guys left, and what team are they on? This number because they got more people, the good guys. So they're on the opposite team. I'm gonna take the big number minus small number. 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 equals 1. And then I need to keep the denominator the same. The denominator is the number on the bottom of the fraction bar. Denominator's down here, so keep it the same. 3 cents plus negative 2 cents equals 1 cent. It's not that bad. Just follow these steps. Not that bad. Let me help you out. We'll keep going. What if both numbers are negative? What do you do if both numbers are negative? Like let's say you got negative 1/5 plus negative 3/5. Negative 1/5 plus negative 3/5. Well, both numbers are negative. I don't care. I don't care. Don't worry about negatives. I'm not afraid of a negative. I ain't afraid of a negative. I know that I need to follow these steps. I don't need to do step 1 yet. I'll tell you when. Add the numerators. Bad guys plus bad guys. I can do that. I know that 1 bad guys plus 3 bad guys, they're on the same team. So they're not going to shoot each other. I don't need to take the big number or small number. They're on the same team. Bad guys plus bad guys, they're going to team up and I need to add them together. And I know that adding integers from my video says 1 bad guy plus 3 bad guys, 4 bad guys. So that's 4 bad guys. And then keep the denominator the same, fifths. Yeah, you're going to be okay at this, you guys. You're going to be okay. Just add the numerators, keep the denominator the same. The problem comes when the denominators are not the same. So I'm going to move forward to that portion, and we are going to use step number 1. Let me set up the problem. This is where it gets a little complicated, so watch my steps. 1/2 plus 1/8. 1/2 plus 1/8. My denominators are not common. Not everybody has a 2 for a denominator. Not everybody has an 8 for a denominator. My denominators are not common. So I need to get them common. I'm going to multiply by 1. I'm going to multiply this fraction by 1, and I'm going to multiply this fraction by 1, and I'm going to choose by choosing the opposite denominator. So what I'm going to do is take a peek. This denominator is going to take a peek at this denominator. This denominator is going to take a peek at this denominator. So let me write that step down. Take a peek. So this boy, this 2, he takes a peek at that girl, and she's an 8. Hey, way to go. Way to go, kid. She's an 8, and that opposite denominator is what's going to help me to choose how to multiply by 1. I know that any number divided by itself equals 1. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. 100 divided by 100 equals 1. Negative 15 divided by negative 15 equals 1. Any number divided by itself. So I'm going to take 8, and I'm going to divide it by itself, 8, and I'm going to multiply it times this fraction. You go by the opposite fraction. You hold on. You wait. You wait till we do it for you. You'll get it. So what I'm going to do is do a multiply 8 over 8. All I'm taking is 1/2 times 1. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1/2 times 1 is 1/2. I'm not changing the value. It just looks different. And then this girl takes a peek at the boy, and he's a 2. To be honest, it's about average for a boy. About a 2. So that 2 is what's going to help me figure out when I multiply by 1. So I'm going to multiply by 2 divided by 2, because I know that 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1/8 times 1 is 1/8. So it's no big deal multiplying numbers times 1. So that's why I told you to watch my multiply fractions video. I'll put it up again. If this you don't know how to multiply fractions, you're getting this too complicated, watch my multiply fractions video and I'll show you how to do it. The bottom line is multiply straight across, SA, straight across. So 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Bring down a plus, always bring down a plus. 1 times 2 is 2. 8 times 2 is 16. And magically we have common denominators. We'll do it a few more times. You'll watch it. It'll amaze you. Every time it will be the same. And it's because of commutative property multiplication. I'll do a video on that later. Okay, so now I have common denominators. That was step 1. We just multiplied by 1. using the opposite denominator. And now we just need to add the numerators. 8 plus 2. Well, 8 plus 2 equals 10. And then keep the denominator the same, 16. That's my answer, 10/16. 1/2 plus 1/8 equals 10/16. There's one slight problem, it's not simplified. Again, if you don't know how to do that yet, I'll put a video out there for you. But for now, I'm just going to do it in my head, okay? So this is going to be 5/8. The answer would be 5/8. Okay, let's keep going. That was a lot of steps. We'll keep trucking. Treforce plus -1/5. Your teacher's going to give you problems like this. They're going to have denominators that are not the same. You're going to have positives, negatives, all kinds of crazy things. Guess what? I don't care. I got my steps. Multiply by 1 using the opposite denominator. Okay, this boy looks at a girl and she's a 5. Hey, stop complaining, dude. She's better than you. You're a 4. So she's a 5. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my 1. Any number divided by itself. So I'm going to take this 5/5. And then a girl takes a look at a boy. Hey, it's above average. 4. Okay, so the 4, we're going to times this by 4/4. And then I multiply straight across that, say. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. Bring down a plus, always bring down a plus. Don't forget the negative, and you need to know when you're doing multiplying integers, you can watch that video if you want, but negatives times a positives is going to be a negatives. So -1 times +4 will be -4, and 5 times 4 is 20. And you need to understand also, when you're dealing with fractions, the negative can go in the top, it can go in front, and it can go in the bottom. Don't ever put it in the bottom. Computers usually put them in the front. But nowadays, the word processors are sophisticated enough, they oftentimes put it in the numerator. But when I'm writing, I always put it in the numerator. Always. It helps me avoid errors. But what I'm trying to say is this is a positive times a positive. That's why I got +20 and not -20. The negative is associated with the numerator and the positive with the denominator. Okay, now I have common denominators. So step 1 is done, multiplied by 1 using opposite denominators. Now I need to add the numerators. 15 plus -4, that's good guys plus bad guys. They're on the opposite team, so I need to take the big number minus the small number. 15 minus 4 is 11. What team wins? Who wins? Good guys and bad guys. Good guys have more people, so it'll be positive 11. And then I need to keep the denominator the same, 20ths. That's my answer, 11/20. The problem's over. It is complicated, but you follow these steps. Every time you'll be correct. Every time. -4 cents plus -8 thirds. -4 cents plus -8 thirds. I have uncommon denominators or unlike denominators. They don't look like each other. So that's what I told you. We'll start using step 1 now. Step 1 is when your denominators are not the same. That's when we got to use step 1. Multiply by 1 using the opposite denominator. So this girl, she takes a peek at the boy. He's a 3. He's a tree. So we're going to multiply by 1, any number divided by itself. So tree divided by tree. And then this boy takes a peek at a girl. She's a sin. You're hitting way above your belt there. But that's fine. That's fine. Sin. So I'm going to go sin or sin. And multiply straight across, I say. I'm going to multiply straight across. Tree times -4. Positives times negatives are negatives. Tree times -4 is -12. Tree times sin is 21. Again, pos times pos. Positive number times positive number will be a positive number. The negative is associated with the numerator, not the denominator. Keep them up in the top. Bring down a plus, always bring down a plus. -8 times sin. Negative times a positive is a negative, and then 8 times 7 is 36. So -36, and then tree times sin is 21. Every time. You see how we got common denominator, common denominator, common denominator? It's going to be every time. Okay, and then now step 2, add the numerators. Bad guys plus bad guys. What happens when on the same team you add? You add these numbers because they team up. Bad guys, they're on patrol, got more bad guys on patrol, they team up, there's more bad guys. So 12 plus 36 is 68, and it's bad guys because they don't just turn good guys all of a sudden. So bad guys plus bad guys is going to be -68. And then 21sts, my step 3 says keep the denominator the same, so 21sts. -68 21sts. That would be the answer. Step number 1, multiply by 1 using the opposite denominator. Done, done. Step number 2, add the numerators. Done. Step number 3, keep the denominator the same. Done. I should put step 4, simplify your fraction. You should always simplify your fractions. All right, well, let's keep cruising. What if they do put the negative in the front? What if they put the negative in the front? Let's find out. That's gross. But again, back in the old days when they first started making computers, they didn't know how to make negatives in the numerator. They would just put them out here in the front because that would be like an extra fraction bar. They just kind of put it there and it would consider it a negative. Well, what happens is the negative can either be associated with the numerator or the denominator, not both. And let me show you why not both. let's say negative 1/2. Well, if the negative went to the numerator and the denominator, it'd be negative 1 over negative 2. And we know from dividing integers, or dividing fractions or whatever, dividing integers, negative 1 divided by negative 2, negative by negatives cancels, and that equals positive 1/2. So you're telling me negative 1/2 equals positive 1/2? Yeah, give me a break. It doesn't. This is just, it doesn't work. It hurts my eyes. Hurts my eyes, so don't do it that way. Okay, what we are going to do though, is I would just rewrite it and put the negative in the numerator. And so maybe even just scribble it out and put it up here. Scribble it out. Put it right there. So now I got to do my steps. Multiply by 1 using the opposite denominator. 2, looks at the girl, she's a model. A 9. Holy moly. Okay, so multiply by 9 over 9. And that girl looks, I'm telling you, it's about average. You can find 2 boys all over the place. Okay, so times 2 over 2. Sorry, girls. And then multiply straight across, right? Multiply SA. Okay, so 9 times negative 3 is a negative 20 sin. 9 times positive 2 is the 18. Bring down a plus, always bring down a plus. Negative 8 times 2. Again, multiplying straight across. Negative 8 times 2 is the negative 16. And then 9 times 2 is going to be the 18. And I'm telling you, it is magic, I'll be honest with you. Every time we get a common denominator, every time when we multiply by the opposite denominator, when we use that to make a 1 on both sides, we get a common denominator. And that's the step 1, that's the step that we need. Now I go to step 2 and add the numerators. Negative 27 plus negative 16. They're on the same team. They're on the same team. That's bad guys plus bad guys. So bad guys plus bad guys will give me more bad guys. You add those numbers together. 27 plus 16, that's 43, I think, and bad guys. So 43 negative, and then the last step, keep the denominator the same, 18, 18, 18. So negative 43 18ths. That's what that's going to be. When you just follow these steps, that's what you get. Well, let's keep going. I'll give you more practice. I understand this is tough. I get it. So I'm going to give you more practice. Okay, well, what if they mix a whole number in there? So let's say they say 6 plus 1/10. 6 plus 1/10. Now I got to add a whole number plus a fraction. Guess what? I don't care. You just need to turn this whole number into a fraction. You just need to turn the whole number into a fraction. Turn any whole number you want into a fraction by dividing by 1. So I can take this 6 and turn it into 6 whole numbers, 6 ones. Bring down a plus and a 1/10. Now I've got a fraction plus a fraction. I'm adding fractions. I can do that by following these 3 steps. Multiply by 1, opposite denominator. So this dude, he's going to be a 1. If he takes a peek at that girl's going to be a 10. And so need to multiply by 10 over 10. 10 over 10. And then this girl, multiply by 1 over 1. Sorry. Oh yeah, multiply straight across, SA. 10 times 6 is 60. 10 times 1 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. 10 times 1 is 10. Common denominator. Step 1 worked again. Step number 2, add the numerators. 60 plus, oh, give me a break. 60 plus 1. And then step number, the last one, keep the denominator the same. 10, 10, 10. 61 tenths. That's what this is. And you might know that 6 is really 60 tenths. Plus 1/10 is 61 tenths. So that's how we got it. Well, what if they use mixed numbers? Now that's above our level. I haven't taught you how to do mixed numbers yet, but you might already know how to do them times plus. You know how to do that? Times plus. Okay, let's try it out. 4 2/3 plus negative 2 1 1/10. 4 2/3 plus negative 2 1 1/10. Okay, I'm going to go times plus. If you know how to do that, times plus. If you don't, just go to my video of, what is this called? Converting mixed numbers into improper fractions. But the bottom line is times plus. That's the secret. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So 14 thirds, bring down a plus, always bring down a plus. And then cover up the negative. Don't do the negatives and then add a positive and mess all that stuff up. Just cover up the negative. A ln times 2 is 22, plus 1 is 23, but it is a negative number, so negative 23 lengths. Ln times 2 is 22, plus 1, 23, make it negative. Okay, so now we got step number 1, multiply by 1. Okay, this tree, she's a supermodel. That's off the charts. Okay, so tree, a ln, times by a ln over a ln. And then a ln, a tree, and a tree over tree, and then multiply straight across. A ln times 14 is 140, 154. 154, a ln times tree is 33. Bring out a plus, always bring out a plus. Negative 23 times tree, negative times a positive is a negative. That's negative 69. A ln times tree is 33. Okay, got a common denominator. That's step number 1. Step number 2, add the numerators. 154, good guys. negative 69. I got 69 bad guys. When on the opposite team, you take the big number minus the small number. 154, I think, is that 85? 54, 64, I think it's 85 good guys. So it's 85 good guys because they got more people on their team than the bad guys. They got more people than the bad guys. And then step number 3, keep the denominator the same. Dirty turds. That's my lesson on adding fractions. Just follow these steps. These are the steps you need to do. Now, if it's already common denominators, remember you can skip to step 1. If it's already common denominators, skip step 1. And then add numerators. Numerators are the number on top, and then keep the denominator the same. And it's going to work every time. So hey, I wish you the best. Never stop learning.